The Soviet War in Afghanistan lasted 9 years from December 1979 to February 1989. Part of the Cold War, it was fought between Soviet-led Afghan forces against multinational insurgent groups called the Mujahideen. The insurgents received military training in neighboring Pakistan and China, as well as billions of dollars from the United States, United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, and other countries. The decade-long war lasted with millions of Afghans fleeing their country, mostly Pakistan and Iran. When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in December 1979, the blustered pro-communist government in the Middle Eastern nation, no one could have anticipated the far-reaching effects that would be felt decades later and around the globe. What immediately followed after was the 10-year civil war in which Soviet troops fought Afghan guerrillas, or the Mujahideen. The war in Afghanistan became the Holy War, and a rallying point for many Muslims, with the conflict drawing young men from across the Muslim world to fight on the side of the guerrillas. This all impacted us by the influence of the militant Islamic groups increasing their religion. On September 11, 2001, 19 members of the terrorist group called Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 U.S. airplanes and used them to strike various targets on the East Coast. They carefully planned attacks, killing nearly 3,000 people, making it the worst attacks on the United States in history. Al-Qaeda is a small, yet very violent group of people who practice the Muslim religion and who want to create the Muslim state independent from other countries. The leadership of Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda has carried out many terrorist attacks all over the world, but the attacks on September 11th were the deadliest by far. 2 hijacked planes hit the World Trade Center Tower in New York. The buildings collapsed and thousands of people died. A 3rd plane was flown into the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, where the U.S. military headquartered, killing 189 people. A 4th plane thought to be heading for the Capitol in Washington crashed in rural Pennsylvania. The United States responded by attacking Al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan, one of several countries where the group had operations. The government in Afghanistan was brutal and supported the terrorists, so less than a month after the attacks of September 11th, the United States invaded Afghanistan to break up Al-Qaeda and the Afghan government. During years after the attacks, the United States was involved with another war, one in Iraq. The main reason for this war was because many countries, including the United States, believed that Iraq dictator Saddam Hussein had weapons that could be used in terrorist attacks. No weapons were ever found, no link between Hussein and bin Laden were ever proved. You've heard of Obamacare, but what is Obamacare, or the Health Care for America plan exactly? Obamacare is a national health care plan aimed at reforming the American health care system. Obamacare's main focus is regulating the health insurance industry and reducing spending in healthcare. Obamacare is the unofficial name for the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which was signed into law March 23rd of 2010. In more general sense, Obamacare and the Health Care for America plan, or any such name, is a reference to the ongoing health care reform under President Obama. How will Obamacare impact Americans with disabilities? Well, it's just now 9 months until the key elements of Obamacare go live, with the countdown to the debut of health insurance marketplaces and sweeping new insurance industry regulations is now on everyone's mind. It's amazing to see how much the conversation centers on the partisan political technicalities surrounding implementation rather than the political impact. It's a huge bill with wide implications for all of healthcare. There are so many social networking sites out there. There's Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, etc. Most teenagers use at least one of these social media sites. It seems that social networking will be a common part of our lives. A huge benefit of those utilizing social networking is connecting with others that have the same interests or are a part of the same industry. So what exactly is social networking? Simply, social networking is a way to seek connection and bond with others. Currently, approximately half of the world's population is under the age of 30, and social media is one of the most popular means of communication today. The effects of social media on our lives are tremendous. Facebook is one of the most popular forms of social media. People that do not have a Facebook account almost do not exist. In today's day and age, everyone is expected to have a Facebook account. Social media affects not only our lives when we are active on social media sites, but also when we are offline. President Obama was born in Honolulu, Hawaii on August 4, 1961, to a father from Kenya and a mother from Kansas. Growing up, he was also raised by his grandfather, who served in Patton's army, and his grandmother, who worked her way up from the secretarial pool to become vice president. After working his way through school with the help of a scholarship and money and student loans, President Obama moved to Chicago. Barack Obama was sworn as president January 20th, 2009. He took the office in the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. At the time, our economy was losing over 800,000 jobs a month. He acted immediately to get our economy back on track. Today, the private sector had added back more than 5 million jobs. There is more work to do, but we are back on the right track.